This video shows how to prepare a bait hive for attracting swarms. The video will show two ways of preparing the open frames needed in a bait hive. The frames have to be open so that the scout bees can do their diagonal flutter dance across the hive in order to determine what the volume is. They would like a space of 40 litres, which is roughly the size of a Smith or National brood box. So the two ways that we'll look at is by putting a 2 centimetre strip of foundation along the underside of the top bars of some open frames, and also putting a V-shaped piece of wood along the underside of the top bars, and the bees will draw comb from the sharp edge of the V strip. Preparing the open frames. So wear eye protection, and we start with top bar, and we remove the wedge. The little strip that holds the wax is usually attached to top bar. We take that out, and then we'll fit the side bars and pin them as normal. So the first method, we're going to fit a 2 centimetre strip of foundation, and we are using wireless foundation, but you could use wired foundation, it wouldn't matter, and fit it in, and then we trap it with the wedge bar. But it's a good idea to put on some blobs of glue on the wedge bar, so that sometimes it doesn't just trap the foundation completely, and some exterior PVA glue just blobbed on will hold it. And then we push it in and nail it in as we normally would do. So that's using the foundation strip method. Now we'll look at using the foundationless method. So we start again with a top bar, and we take out the wedge and fit the side bars. And now what we have to do, we have to sharpen along one edge of the wedge until we get all the way along a sharp edge. And the bees will draw wax from that sharp edge. They like to draw their comb from a sharp edge. So you can give that edge a rub with a piece of beeswax if you want, but I think they barely need that. And what we do, we fit this into the top bar up against its ledge, and fit it so that the sharp edge is in the centre. The sharp-edged side is up against the wedge, but the sharp edge has to be facing towards the bottom of the frame, of course. And then we just nail that in, pin that in. Oops. Put in 2 pins will be enough to hold it. And there's a sharp edge, and then we can put on the bottom bars. Now if you want to try fitting a skewer, so the idea of the skewer is when they draw their comb, then if you take a frame out, the comb will be very weak, and it's weak for about 2 or 3 brood cycles, by which time it stiffens up naturally. So we can fit a bamboo skewer, use the 30 centimetre ones. There are also 20 centimetre ones in the market, but they're not really long enough. So we drill a hole through the top bar as close to that sharp edge in the centre as possible. And now we can fit the skewer. Just put a blob of exterior PVA glue on it, just to hold it in place. And then we can fit the bottom bars now on. bottom bars on and nail them in place. Of course you would put a nail in each corner. I've just put in one nail. And now we can trim the excess from the skewer. Use a wire snips or a pliers, and be careful, hold it whilst you're cutting it so that it doesn't fly everywhere. And there we are, there's a frame with a skewer in it. We could do the same with the one with the wax in if we wanted. So try some of them and see if it does give a easier to handle frame. So the third way we can do it, you can actually purchase foundationless frames now, and they have that V-shaped piece of wood already installed in the top bar, and they don't cost much more. So for 10 frames, which is what comes in a set of frames usually, they're only about £2 more with these foundationless V's inserted. You assemble the frame as normal. So there's another thing that you can try. Now we come to populate the bait hive. So if you only have mesh floors, I would put the monitoring tray in, because the bees would probably like their new hive to have either a solid floor or at least a non-open floor. And then put in an entrance block which has got a opening of about 10 square centimetres, so about a centimetre by 10 centimetres. They would like a small entrance, and then we can put down the brood box on the floor. So this is a standard Smith brood box, this one has. And we start putting in the frames. And the first frame we put in up against the side is a frame with a piece of old comb. This is actually old comb from a super, but it wouldn't matter what it was from. And then we start putting in the frames, and some of the frames are wax strips that we made earlier, and some of them have got a foundationless system with the wood V-shaped piece of wood in it. There's another one of them, and we have got one here with a skewer in it, and a V-shaped piece of wood, and then some more with just the wax strips. So there we are, that's it populated. And now we put on the cover board, and if the cover board has got feed holes, which it usually have, I would put mesh over them in case the swarm decides to come up through and start building comb off the roof. Occasionally they do that. And there we are, there's the bait hive. Set up on a stand or set it up on blocks, and make sure it's level so that they draw nice straight comb.